6. So this subject is deal with the materials. And what do you mean by strength? Strength means we can choose the sufficient strength of material for the design of proper component. Means if we going to design any component, then what do we look? The material which we choose is strength is sufficient for the bear the load or particular bearing the load. Suppose we're going to design a table or a chair. Then what happened? We choose a material which is suitable for a person to sit and bear their load. So we can choose a material which is have sufficient strength to bear a particular load. Are we going to design a bicycle? Then what is the meaning? The meaning is, what is the purpose of the bicycle? The purpose of bicycle is properly run on the road and bear a particular load, means one or two person. Okay, so the weight of person to person is vary. So what can designer do? They can choose a higher amount of the weight, means around, they think the bicycle maximum 80 kg one person, then the total load is 160 kg, so that the designer designed the bicycle for 160 kg load. Okay, are I am audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So, and this is the very, very important and core subject for the mechanical engineering, because what does the mechanical engineer do? Mechanical engineer is known for the designing of the component. Means whatever the hardware you see in the society or in your day-to-day life, like car, bicycle, motorbike, refrigerator, fan, and your mixer, home applicants, whatever the home applicants, the upper body is under the mechanical. Means the door of the refrigerator, the body of the refrigerator, and inside fluid, all things belong to the mechanical design. Almirah, boxes, bicycle, pen, pencil, whatever you see, look in hardware, that is belongs to the mechanical engineering. And for designing these things, we the have to thorough knowledge about the materials, means about this subject, strength of material. So it is very, very important. If you choose your career mechanical engineering in the design field, if you go for the component design, then this is the basic and very important subject for that. Okay, so today we go through the introductory class for the strength of material. Okay, suppose for example you are the captain of a kabaddi team, then which player you choose? Suppose there is a 8 player and you are the captain, then you have to choose the 7 player. Then which player you choose? Means you choose the good player, best player, which strength is high, means which breath timing is high, because the breath typing is important for the kabaddi play. Similarly, if we're going to design anything like a chain, then we choose the all the link is in a proper manner strength. Okay, the designing concept is that we don't think about the strongest link or strongest connection. Designer always think and always search for the weakest link. Okay, and they create that weakest link strong, so all the component or all the design become safe. Okay, so like all the things which we purchase, like whatever our chair or refrigerator or fan, they have a working life like 5 year, 3 year, 2 year, 1 year. Okay, so why this life is given? Okay, so like fan, we choose fan, then what happened? They run a life of 5 year with a particular load, means with a optimized load. Then what happened? Means the manufacturer say that your fan life is 5 year with a load of 240 volt. Okay, if you run the fan beyond the 240 volt, then what happened? The fan life is decreased. They are not sufficient for the 5 year life. And you going to claim that, sir, you told that the fan in life is 5 year, but it is fail in the 2 year or 1 year. Then what is the reason? The reason is the run the you run the fan for their above to their optimized load. Okay, so these are the connections which have to obtain. Means if you like your mobile battery, okay, the manufacturers say that the manufacturers say that your mobile battery is going to the 24 hours lecture चल रहा है तो means 24 hours, but it is the proper cycle. Means you should charge your battery when your batteries reach 20%. If you not follow this, then what happen? Means your battery is reached 70% and you plug the uh, mobile for the battery charging, then what happen? These interruption reduce your battery life. Okay, there are a proper guideline when you charge your phone. When your battery reduce till the 20%, then you charge your phone. Means if you want to a product give you proper life, then you follow the proper instruction. Operating instruction is important. Means if manufacturer give you 5 year life, then term and condition apply. And same things happen with the automobile. Means a bike written there 100 kilometer per liter mileage is there, then it is feasible you get the 100 kilometer per liter? Not, because a star is given there, term and condition apply. Okay, the your speed is must be between this limit to this limit, and road condition is smooth, no breaker is there, then only you get the 100 kilometer per liter mileage. If the condition is changed, then your mileage is down, you don't get the 100 kilometer per liter, because you don't follow the instruction which give you 100 kilometer per liter. So this is the very important things when we talk about the life, because any any product have a proper life, and if you don't follow the instruction, then the meaning is you don't get the proper life or given life. So in this lecture or in this subject we deal with this. What happened, you see here, this is the rotational. What is the rotational? Strength of material is a core technology subject which aim at enabling the student to understand analyze various type of loads, stresses, strain, along with main course of the change in physical property and failure of machine part. Just 1 minute. So we have to know in this subject the particular strain and strength. Sorry, strain and stress. Okay, so in the strength of material we just deal with the stress and strength. Means whatever the stress produce and whatever the strain produce when we apply a load on particular material or component. Material or component, then we deal with this. So the most important things in this subject is load, stresses, strain. The whole subject is rounding about these three terms, whatever, load, stresses and strain. Okay, so that stresses and strain is produced when a component, a material deal with the load. Okay, when a load is applied on the component or material, then these property will be show off. Okay, so the meaning is these property means stress and strain is belong with the physical property of the material. Okay, so whatever, see, one more important thing, machine part. Okay, our machine component. So we deal with the machine component, because the most of the mechanical engineers created different type of machines which is easy their work. Okay, so machine, what is machine? Machine is a instrument or a device which reduce the human effort. That is the simplest definition of the machine. Machine is a equipment or device which is reduce the human effort. Okay, so like your scissor is like a machine. If you try to tear a cloth with your hand, then it take more effort. But when you use scissors, then you easily tear the or cut the cloth. Okay, so scissor is reduce your cutting strength or tearing strength. Okay, so a machine is a device or component which is reduce human effort or your effort. So all the mechanical engineering change in the all the mechanical engineering component are subjected to different loading and behave in a specific way. The subject is request for the understanding the principle of machine design and strength of various material used in industry. Understanding the mechanical property of the material with the help in the selecting the suitable material for the various engineering applications. Okay, so this subject is also help you how you select the best material or optimized material for the component. Okay, so I think the physical class is not started, so you don't know about the lathe machine and shaper machine, shaping machine. These are the machine. Okay, the main component of the machine is the base. Okay, because the all the loading and accessories is give compressive strength on the base. Okay, so all the machine have a base of cast iron, ci iron, cast iron. Okay, why they choose the cast iron for the base? Because the compressive strength of cast iron is very good and cost is also low. Okay, so if you purchase any type of wire for your home, household home, then the best wire is copper base. Okay, why we choose the copper base wire? Because the conductivity of the copper is very good. Because when we choose the wire, then what happened? The electricity must flow from the wire. So copper wire have very good conductivity of electricity, so it is a good conductor. So depend on the application we choose the material. For the wire we choose the copper, for the machine base we choose the cast iron, for the tool means your lathe machine or stepper machine, a tool is there which is cut the material, for the tooling we choose HSS means high speed steel, because the hardness of high speed steel is very high, and for the cutting purpose hardness is required. Okay, you know which material cut the glass? Anyone give the answer? Which material used for the cut the glass? Okay, can
सर
anyone tell me?
वो जो
Yes,
सर न्यू अभी
yes.
आया ना, वो वाटर से प्रेशर से वो कट करते हैं ग्लास.
Yes, yes.
सर मैं आपने
This is the unconventional method. What are the conventional method?
डायमंड
Is diamond. Yeah, correct answer. Because the diamond is the hardest material available in the world in current situation. Okay, and a diamond used for the cutting the glass, because any other material we choose, they broke the glass, don't cut the glass. Okay, so we choose diamond as a tool for cutting the glass, because glass is a harder material and brittle material also. Okay, whatever I told you, that is the different property of the material, and which we deal one by one. Like I told you, hardness is the property of the material. Brittleness is also another property of the material. Toughness is also different material, sorry, different property of the material. And melodibility. Okay, so these are the different property, and which is used for different application. So we go for the particular application and choose a suitable material for that. Okay, and we have also practical session about 16 practical is there, where we have hardness test, stress strain test. Okay, your first practical and second practical is based on the stress strain curve. Means what happened, we choose a specimen and apply a tensile load on that particular specimen, and specimen have a specific material like aluminum, cast iron, like that. And we apply a tensile force from both end, and we see their stress strain curve. Okay, because this subject is all around the stress strain, how much stress we get after applying the a particular load. Okay, so what is the stress? Okay, because there is a very important question, what is the unit of stress? The unit of stress is Newton per meter square. Newton per meter square, or Newton per mm square also. This is the same unit for the particular stress. And what is the unit of pressure? Pressure is also have a unit of Newton per meter square or Newton per mm square. Okay, the unit is same. So what is the difference between the stress and pressure? Stress and pressure, anyone can tell? Because the unit is same, name is changed, but unit is same. Then what is the difference between the stress and strain? Okay, because the definition is same. Okay, a pressure definition is contact area applying load. Applying load divided by the contact area. And same things, same definition is for the stress. Contact area means whatever the load we apply on particular component, whatever the area they cover. Contact area means if we put our hand on the table, then whatever the area covered by our hand, divide by load, sorry, whatever the load we apply and whatever the area covered by our hand, we can get a ratio, that is the pressure. And that same thing the stress. Then what is the difference between both? because this is the very important question, most probably asked in the interview. The unit is same, definition is same, then what is the difference? Then what is the difference? The difference is pressure is the external property. Pressure is the external things or external action. Yeah, action is the proper word. Pressure is the external action and stress is the internal action. Means reactive action. मीन्स अगर हम प्रेशर अप्लाई करेंगे तो ही स्ट्रेस प्रोड्यूस होगा. अगर कोई भी लोड हम अप्लाई करेंगे किसी भी कंपोनेंट में, रिएक्टिव फोर्स, stress is reactive force or resistance force. Reactive force or resistance force is the stress and pressure is the external force. Okay, clear? So it is a very important question which we many time ask in the interview, because the definition and unit is same. Then what is the difference? Difference is that stress is the internal resistance, means when the external force is applied, stress is produced for resist them. Okay, what is the Newton's second law? There is equal and opposite reaction always. Means if we put a pressure or load on the table, then equal and opposite force table is applied in our hand, so that is the equilibrium. Okay, if our force, hand force is more than reactive force, then what happen? Anyone can tell? If our hand pressure or hand force is more than the resistive force, then what happen to table? The table is broke down. If the reactive force is less than our apply force, then what happen? Your product is fail. Whatever a table, chair, and bicycle, whatever is there. For this suitable condition or suitable circulation of the component, it is must be the reactive force is always equal to your apply force in any area. For any component, if your apply force is equal to the reactive force or resistance force, then only your component will survive. If your resistance force is less than apply force, then your product is fail or broke down. Okay, now what is the competency? The aim of this course is to help the student to attain the following industry identified competency through various teaching learning experience. Now these are the your six outcome. These are your six outcome. First, compute moment of inertia for symmetric and asymmetric structure section. Okay, so this is belong the moment of inertia. When we going to detailed, then we start this. Estimate simple stresses and machine component, means we find out the or calculate the simple stresses in for the different type or different machine components. Compute, sorry, C, perform test to evaluate machine mechanical property according to the Indian standards. Okay. D, compute shear force and bending moment and corresponding shear and bending stresses in the beam subjected to point and uniform distributed load. Okay. So point load and uniform. There is a many type of load which is applied in the column and beam, but here in your course there is only two: point and uniform load. So the other load is uniform varying load and inclined load. Okay, so two more load is there, but we deal with only point load and uniform distributed load, UDL. The short form is UDL. Okay. Fifth is estimate the stresses in soft under twisting moment. Whatever the twisting of soft means, we fix one end of the soft and rotate the another end. So twisting is there. Means like anyone put your hand and rotate your hand. Then what happened? Your end of hand is fixed with your body, and if anyone rotate your hand, then what happened? Twisting forces occur. Same things is here. We estimate the stresses under the twisting moment. Okay. So the last is estimate the stresses in short member subjected to the eccentric load. Means, what do you mean by eccentric? Means the load is not applying on the center. The load is applied beyond the center. Okay. So this is our teaching and examination scheme. Okay, so there is 3 lectures in a week, 2 tutorials, and 2 hours for the practical. Okay, so for the practical, there is 3 batch. Okay, practical take in the batches, but in the online mode, we take the practical all student in one time, and lecture and tutorial is for all the students. Okay, so paper is 3 hours if this scheme is for the offline. Okay, teach means paper is for the 3 hours, 70 marks for your theory paper, and out of 70, 28 the minimum marks you have to achieve. And for the assessment, theory assessment, 30 marks is there, and this 30 marks is based on your class test 1, class test 2, and your micro project. Okay, 20 marks for your class test 1, class test 2, and 10 marks for your micro project. Okay, so all the things is based on your external exam. This is theory, your external exam. This is your internal assessment, means your performance, your regular performance. Okay, progressive assessment, this is called progressive assessment, PA, means whatever you score in your class test and whatever your score in the micro project, that is combined with the 30 marks. Okay, so you need at least 40 marks from these two. From these two means 70 and 30 is 100. Out of 100 you need to 40 marks for the clear the examination for this subject. Okay, see here, total 100 and minimum you need to 40 marks. Okay, so why 28 is minimum? Because if you get 30 out of 30 marks here, then you need only 10 marks for 40, but there is a minimum criteria for here. You at least you get 28 marks for passing the theory examination. If you get 30 marks out of 30 year, then you also achieve at least 28 marks for the theory examination. So this is about your theory examination, and this is your practical assessment. What about your practical assessment? The practical assessment, ESE, this is your external examination. External examiner is there, and this is for the 25 marks and 10 for your minimum marks, and this is your progressive for practicals. What do you mean by progressive? The progressive is your lab record, your laboratory record and performance in laboratory. Okay, so these are your teaching schemes. Okay, so next, this is your course map. So here you can see, follow the ethic procedure, calculate these are the combination. This chart is your combination of course outcome and program outcome. So these are your practical list. Determine the yield stress, ultimate stress, and loading stress for the mild steel, and same things for the mild steel. This is part second and part one, means practical one and two is belong to each other. And third, plot stress strain diagram for the aluminum by the conducting tension test. Stress strain, again come here. Okay, stress strain, again come here. See, your practical number 3 and practical number 2 is belong with the stress strain. And calculate compressive strength of the ductile such as mild steel, aluminum, brass, copper using the compression test. This is third and fourth is about your tensile test, and fifth and sixth about your compression test. Okay. 7. Determine the shear strength of the various metals such as MS means mild steel, Al means aluminum, bronze, wire, and copper, any two metal by single shear test. This is your shear test, means we can shear the material and we get the shear strength for that. Determine the shear strength of the various metal, like same 7 and 8 is same, but this is your single shear and this is your double shear. Okay, that is the difference. Evaluate toughness of the ductile and brittle materials such as mild steel, aluminum, brass, copper by using the isoc impact test. And same, determine the energy absorption capacity of the ductile and brittle material such as ms al aluminum, bronze, and copper by conducting the charpy test. This is isotope test and this is the charpy test. This is the name of the scientists who invent this test. Isaac is the scientist and Charpy is also a scientist which produce these two type impact test. Okay, draw shear force and bending moment. Draw shear force and bending moment diagram for given bending load. Open source shear force and bending simulation software. This is depend on the software, so we can use software like ansys or hypermesh for that. Find fractural strength by the conducting bending test on the timber beam. Timber means wooden beam of rectangular cross section with shorter side horizontal oriented as per IS standard 708 and 240. This is the IS standard. We go in detail when we perform this test. And next is determine module of rigidity by conducting torsion test of MS, and determine the module of rigidity by the conducting the torsion test MS. Means 14 and 15 is a combined test. Okay, determination of direct stresses, bending stresses and resultant stresses by given practical approach. Means this is our graphical approach. This is our graphical approach which we can apply and get the direct stress and bending stress. Now we come to our syllabus. Okay, so first is moment of inertia, second is simple stress and strain. So but we start our subject from here, mechanical property and elastic constant of the metal, because first we know these mechanical property and elastic constant, then we can apply these things for the moment of inertia and finding out the simple stress and strain, because we first know the property now. So we first start our third unit, identify type of deformation for the given type of load with justification. Evaluate different mechanical property of the given material. Identify type of load acting in the given situation with the justification. So these are the about the third unit, type of load, mechanical property like elasticity, plasticity, ductility, brittleness, malleability, fatigue, creep, toughness, hardness. Okay, so these are the main mechanical property which we have to study. Okay, so elasticity, what do you mean the elasticity? Elasticity is a property of a material which give a phenomena to material when we apply a load on the material, the deformation is shown. The deformation is shown. But when we remove the load, the material gain its original position or original shape. That is the elasticity. So can anyone tell me which is the most elastic material you know? So answer is rubber. Rubber is a most elastic material, because we apply the tensile load on the rubber, then what happens? They deform very fast, but when we release the load, rubber get its original shape. Okay, but we are an engineer and we create a elastic component, or uh, what is the component name which designed by the engineers? That is the spring. The material of spring is steel, which is not much more elastic, but when we create the spring, they give more elasticity. Okay, we stretch the spring, then release the force, spring get its original position. So the natural material is the rubber, which is more elastic. But we create a component or a model like a spring, which is give a elastic property like a rubber. Okay, we apply the load, compressive or tensile, and the spring is deform, show the deformation. And when we remove the load, then what happened? Spring get its original position, that is the elasticity. This property is called the elasticity. And now second is plasticity. Plasticity is the opposite of elasticity. Means we can say the plastic deformation. What do you mean by plastic deformation? Means when we apply the load of any material and we reduce the load, the shape gain by material when we apply the load, it's not retain its original position. That is the plasticity. मीन्स हम किसी भी कंपोनेंट में लोड लगाएं और उसका जो डिफॉर्मेशन हो वो वापस से ओरिजिनल पोजीशन में नहीं आए, दैट इज द प्लास्टिसिटी. मीन्स इट इज द अपोजिट टू द एलास्टिसिटी. एलास्टिसिटी में क्या होता है कि हमने लोड लगाया, लोड रिमूव किया, देन मटेरियल और कंपोनेंट गेट its original position. But in the plasticity, what happened? We apply the load and material doesn't get its original position. That is the plasticity. Okay. Ductility. What do you mean by the ductility? Okay. So ductility, when we convert a material into a wire. Okay. Means drying. Means we convert a material in a wire. That property is called the ductility. Brittleness. Brittleness means what happened? When we apply a load, the material is broke in the pieces, like our glass. Graphite. What is the graphite? The pencil needle is graphite. Okay, glass, graphite is the most brittle materials. Stone is also brittle material. Okay, concrete, these are the brittle material. They are hard but brittle. Okay. Melodibility. What is the melodibility? Means the property which is give things to convert in a thin sheet, to convert into a thin sheet. Why this sheet is required? Because sheet metal working is there. So which material we use? Steel. Steel is more malleability, so they easily convert in the thin sheet. Okay. Fatigue. What is the fatigue? Fatigue is a resistive property. Means the strength against the cyclic load. The strength against the cyclic load means किसी भी कंपोनेंट पे एक ही टाइम पे आपका कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेंथ, देन टेंसाइल, कंप्रेसिव टेंसाइल फोर्स, कंप्रेसिव फोर्स, टेंसाइल फोर्स, कंप्रेसिव फोर्स अप्लाई हो रहा है, और उसके अगेंस्ट जो आपका क्या कहते हैं कि प्रॉपर्टी है उसको रजिस्ट करने की, मीन साइक्लिक लोड को रजिस्ट करने के लिए जो प्रॉपर्टी चाहिए वो है फटीग. देन क्रीप. क्रीप इज डिपेंड ऑन फॉर द लॉन्ग टर्म डिफॉर्मेशन. व्हाट इज दैट? लॉन्ग टर्म डिफॉर्मेशन. क्रीप का बेस्ट एग्जांपल आप देखिए कि बहुत क्या कहते हैं कि जैसे आपका अ, अपने कॉलेज में देखिए कि बड़ी बड़ी विंडोज हैं, लार्ज विंडो हैं और उसमें ग्लास लगा हुआ है, ठीक है ना। तो इस ग्लास का जो वेट है, सेल्फ वेट के थ्रू लॉन्ग टर्म में जो डिफॉर्मेशन होता है उसको क्रीप बोलते हैं, ठीक है ना। जैसे वर्टिकल लगा हुआ है तो कुछ 5 साल 6 साल 10 साल बाद क्या होगा कि ये अपने बॉटम पे क्रैक होना शुरू हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि इनके ऊपर कोई एक्सटर्नल लोड नहीं लग रहा है, देयर इज नो एक्सटर्नल लोड, बट दे आर getting the deform because its own loading for a long time duration. ओके, ठीक है ना। तो सेल्फ वेट के थ्रू लॉन्ग टर्म में जो डिफॉर्मेशन होता है उसको क्रिपिंग बोलते हैं, द डिफॉर्मेशन बाय द सेल्फ लोडिंग इन अ लॉन्ग टाइम, दैट इज कॉल्ड द क्रिप। एंड द next property is toughness. So what is the toughness? The toughness is when we apply the load, then whatever the load carrying capacity. So we can say that the load carrying capacity is the toughness. The load carrying capacity is the toughness, and hardness you know, the resistance against the स्क्रैचिंग, मीन्स जैसे ग्लास पे आप स्क्रैच करना चाहें तो बहुत इजीली नहीं होता है, देयर इज अ टफ मटेरियल। ओके, सो दीज आर दी about the third unit when we start, and next lecture is we continue the same introduction of the subject. So this is enough for today. And do you have any question? Then ask your question about the today's session, students. Do you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay,
No,
so
sir.
okay, thank you.